Welcome to the Introduction to Philosophy. Philosophy 111 is what syllabus states, and as you entered into this course. Now, I know that a lot of you are probably asking yourself, why am I taking philosophy? Why do I need to take philosophy? And you probably have some other questions too, and hopefully we can get those answered as we get into the course itself. For me, philosophy is one of those areas that I do believe that it's important in life. Philosophy is a course in which will take you beyond just getting 3 credit hours. And I know that there's some of you out there who think that's the only reason why you're taking this course is so you can get your 3 credit hours. But what I want you to do is when you take this course, as you study the material, I want you to think in your mind about philosophy and how philosophy impacts you, not just in this class, but throughout your life, from birth until whenever. And this is going to be very important for you as we get into this course of study regarding philosophy. And we're going to talk about that quite a bit. Now, I'm going to tell you right now that I did not come into philosophy knowing what philosophy was. Philosophy has been something that over the years I have learned to embrace. And so I want to talk about that as we get into this class, what some of those issues are. But first, this term is going to be a little bit interesting because we have a textbook. We have the 4th edition of Lawhead's book. And majority of you should have that, but I'm finding out that some of you may have the newer edition. That's going to be a little bit of a challenge because I'm not sure what the newer edition states, and we're trying to use this one up for this term with the hopes that come next fall, or at least the summer, we can start using the newer edition. So you're going to see a little, maybe some discussion questions that do not look familiar to you. So I'm going to have to go through the course outline, the course material on D2L and clarify that a little bit. Now, what I do want you to understand, though, as we talk about the issues of philosophy and this course, some of the things you need besides this textbook is a good open mind, journal a little bit. I think that's going to be important for you. Read the syllabus. It has a lot of good information in there for you. Just the standard stuff, but it's going to let you know as to what's required as far as papers and all that regarding the course. And so I do want to make sure that you understand that. Please read that. When you get into the discussion page, then of course go into student responsibilities and let me know that you read it. It's our contract that you have read the syllabus and you know what some of the responsibilities for online are. I also want you to go ahead and introduce yourself. You don't have to do a video. All you have to do is just write in that discussion block who you are, what brings you to Philosophy 111. And this is all some of the things that we talk about when we discuss issues of philosophy. Who are you? And so that's some of the things that I do want to talk about in this class. And as we learn about each other, we know about our backgrounds, gives us a better understanding of what we can expect as far as philosophy is concerned. So those are some of the issues that we're well, it's one way to get to know each other. Since we're not in the classroom, how else can we get to do that? Now, some of the questions that come up regarding who I am and some of that, well, I'm definitely not somebody that's going to be on television. I'm more of a radio guy. Spent a lot of time in radio, but not too much on television, except every once in a while when CNN would capture me, find me where I'm at, to ask me a question regarding an aircraft mishap or an incident, and I would have to wave them off. So that's really where I'm at here. But I did want to just really introduce this class from a lecture standpoint, since we don't have it. We have to ask ourselves the question, what is philosophy? And I've picked up some number of books. You have your textbook. I have a couple, 3 here that I have that I refer to all the time that I've picked up. One of them is How Philosophy Can Save Your Life. You'll find a link to that on the introduction page or the announcements page, if you'll scroll down, show all, and look for that, there's a link to some ideas there, because it's very, when you talk about philosophy, what is philosophy and how does philosophy affect us? How many of you watch House? How many watch other programs like South Park or some of those programs, even The Simpsons? Believe it or not, there's a series of different books out there that discuss the issues of those shows and philosophy and how they really come together. One in particular that I like, of course, I like House. I'm not really sure why, except he's a crusty old guy, and sometimes I think when my daughters tell me I'm one of those crusty old guys, that's who I am. And it's interesting because the title of this one, House and Philosophy, Everyone Lies. And so it's part of the Blackwell Philosophy and Pop Culture series. They have these at the different bookstores. You can find these at the library too. And so it's an interesting way of finding some resources as well as just catching up on what philosophy is. So with that in mind, what I wanted to talk about is philosophy, and publishers always send us textbooks. And so I received one right before the holidays. The title of it is Introducing Philosophy Through Pulp Culture. And so I'm looking at this and I'm seeing the title looks very familiar, what I just mentioned, from Socrates to South Park to Hume to House. And so in it has some very good information, just a relationship when we're watching TV. How many of us watch it, just laugh it off, or sometimes things are said in the program that many have some impact on us. Now I want to read from the introduction because this is part of the class. Philosophy has a public relations problem. Just the sound of the word philosophy scares a lot of people, and I'm sure it scared you. Conjuring images of long dead Greeks and crusty old professors, such as me. But the stereotypes of philosophy are just that, stereotypes. They are mistaken exaggerations and overgeneralizations. Western philosophy may have begun in ancient Greek, but it is alive and well in contemporary America and around the globe. And you'll find that as we get into this, especially in areas of culture, what different types of philosophy there is. Some philosophy professors may be egg-headed, ivory tower intellectuals, but most are not. In fact, many philosophy professors like the same things you do: television, movies, music, video games, and we see the connections between these elements of pop culture and philosophy. So as we look at the issues of what is philosophy, well, looking at it from this aspect, this is the reason why the book was created, because we're not all old people that's all robed up. We do a lot of interesting things. The word philosophy is often confused with the words opinion, theory, or approach, as in, what is your philosophy of life? Now, I ask that question, a lot of people are going to ask you that throughout life. Or our philosophy is never to be undersold. Now, we hear that in businesses quite a bit. As a result, some students have mistaken ideas about what a philosophy class is. Can you ever give a wrong answer in a philosophy class? Isn't it just whatever you think? Well, let me put it this way, and kind of go on with what the textbook says here, or this particular textbook. But you can give a wrong answer. No, it's not whatever you think. Now, in this class, there's not going to be any wrong answers, except when you mark the wrong block on the exam. Because what you have to do is you're going to have to come to grips with what philosophy is. The word philosophy comes from the Greek language and means love of wisdom. Philosophers seek truth and wisdom above all else. The questions for which true answers are most important, but elusive, form the core of philosophy. Here's some questions, and then mark these down, and they're in your text anyway, in the text that you have, as well as in the lectures. What is the nature of reality? What is knowledge? How can one attain it? Is there a God? What is the nature of good and evil? How can I have or live a good life? How should we govern ourselves? What is the meaning of life? when that's our last chapter, what is the meaning of life? And so how do philosophers seek out answers for these questions? Are there really answers? That's a lot of, some students will even ask that after the end of the class. I don't think you really understood my answer because there is no answer. And so we have that public opinion, right to our opinion and such. So we're going to talk about that in this class, and so what I want you to do is think about the 3 questions that I asked. It's in this class. What do you believe? Why do you believe it? And how do you support what you believe? So get ready and enjoy the class.